Hello everybody, welcome back to Leeton. My name's Jace and this channel is about our journey to become more self-sufficient. So this area here I want to get tidied up first today. Got a lot of jobs to do today, but this is the first job that I want to do because I've got some fresh kale that I want to plant out. This kale has been growing since, well, it's gone all the way through the winter. I probably planted this out this time last year, really, and it's gonna go to seed. It started to bolt, but there are a lot of nice leaves on here, young leaves that we can keep. So I'm going to strip off anything that looks healthy and edible, and they'll go up to the kitchen and we can give them a wash, pat dry them, put them in the freezer, and then we'll just chuck them into anything that we're making in the next week or so, and it saves wasting it, and then the rest of it, the stalks and everything, will just get put in the compost. So that's what I'm going to do. All I'm looking for is a healthy leaf without lots of damage. That's that one done. Take the roots out, and with your stalks, as with sprouts and cauliflower and everything else, they're really tough. So before you chuck them in the compost, cut them up into small sections with some secateurs or an axe or whatever you got, because that will take a long time to decompose. There we go. Probably half a bag of kale. And we'll add that to anything. Roast dinners, spaghetti bolognese, we'll just chuck it in and just use the goodness. Don't throw it away. Right, next job, I need to clear this ground, get rid of any dead stuff, stop the slugs being attracted. Give it a weed, maybe just fork it over, because I grew potatoes here last year and I put a lot of compost into the ground. In fact, there's a slug, get rid of it, and so I'll just tidy this area up and then we'll get some new stuff planted out. And the other thing I've got to do is sort out this plum tree, and it's gone a bit wild. It needs a good sort out. Got a lot of suckers that have grown from the bottom that need cutting off, and so I'll get my secateurs and we'll have a go at that as well. Now, this fruit tree, this plum tree, which is opal, we bought cheap from a farm shop. Was it last year? Yeah, I think it was last year. And it's gone a bit wild. I am not an expert at fruit trees and pruning at all, but what I do know is it needs to be shaped like an open goblet, or I believe it does. So I'm going to take off these ones at the bottom first. Now I think normally you would prune plum trees in the summer, but obviously this needs some attention now, really. So and then I think I'm going to take that one off because it's growing up against the fence, so it's not going to do a great deal. And this one. And then I'm left with those there, so I think I'll leave that for the rest of this year anyway. See how it goes. Any of you got any tips on what to do with this and how to prune it? And let me know. Okay, so all this dead stuff that's off the kale plants on the ground, and hedge cuttings and weeds, it's all attracting slugs, so it all needs to go. Unfortunately the compost bin is right next to me, so that's handy. So I've got some kale that I sowed on the 8th of January. Right. I've got a couple of those. I've got some more here that I sowed 5th of March. So I'm going to put those in this area. I've always found in the past that kale will grow pretty well in the shade, and this is a bit of a shaded spot. At this time of the year anyway, it gets more sun in the summer when the sun's higher. So I'm going to not put anything here because this rhubarb's going to grow a lot bigger than that. So I'll go from sort of here across and then put some more in front. And just hope that they survive the slugs. I'm not certain, to be honest, but we will see. Plant them a bit deeper. Good firm down. So the biggest problem for those is going to be slugs, but hopefully if I keep an eye on them, I might put a bear trap down here as well if there is a problem. I don't like to use bear traps for slugs unless there's a slug problem, because otherwise you're just attracting slugs towards your plants. But we'll see how we get on. Right, next job. So I've got spinach here, which was again sown in January I think, and these were sown in March. And what I'm thinking is I might put the spinach along here towards the front, because at the back when it warms up I'm going to grow some tomatoes up this fence. This is a real sun trap, this area, so I think the tomatoes will do well against that fence, and they'll get some shelter from the prevailing wind, southwesterly wind as well. Now I planted my onions the other day to this point, so I'll put the first spinach in this area. So it's that time of year where we can start to plant things out, because it's warming up. But that also means all the weeds are growing, and it's a good time to start getting them out while they're still small and you can pull them out easy, and just start depleting the population. And yesterday I spent a good couple of hours weeding those beds that are just behind me, the raised beds, and then raking them flush and flat, getting as many stones out as I can, because in a bit we're going to sow some carrots and parsnips in there. But I want to get this bed done as first. There's no point me doing the two and not this one, so this is going to take a while. Lots of tiny little weeds like this, but the ground's soft and they're pulling out easy, getting the roots out, so it's a good time to do it before they get established and get much harder to get out. And while I'm doing it, pulling out any sticks and stones, putting them behind this wall, because this is a retaining wall as well as beds, and we want a lot of rubble and things behind it for water drainage, so it's quite handy having that. I can just chuck stones and bricks behind there as I go along. So I'll get this done and I shall see you in a bit. So now I've got the majority of the weeds out and any big stones that were lying on the top, I'm going to give it a rake. And what I found yesterday was give it a rake, pull off the stones and just keep going. And I've got the other two beds into a reasonable tilth, and this soil is really quite good. It's very friable, and it's what came out of the hedge that used to grow along the back here. And when I dug the hedge out with the machine, this was what fell off the bank with it, and it really is a nice friable soil. So with a bit of care, it's going to be good for deep root vegetables. There are quite a few stones in it, mind you, so we might get some forking and some weird shapes, but that's fine. As long as they're edible, that's all I'm worried about. Maybe I could put my courgettes in here. Too cold at the moment, but they are taking up a lot of space in the house now. Yeah, this could be a good courgette bed. And interestingly, I tested the soil temperature yesterday, and the ground temperature is 10 degrees. These beds are 11 degrees, and that is an advantage of raised beds. They do warm up quicker in the spring. Okay, I think that'll do for this bed, and just leave it now. And wait for the weather to warm up, and then I can get, I think I'll put courgettes in there and they can spread themselves about. I've only got 4, so I'll probably do just about right. So I prepared this bed yesterday for parsnips. I've already got my parsnips that I sowed earlier on in the year in January and February growing. They were planted, some of these were planted out really early in the year with half pop bottles over the top, and they've survived. They're coming on. So what I'm going to do now is carry this pattern on, but sowing seed directly into the soil. The soil's now at a temperature 11 degrees where that will work, that will germinate the seeds. So parsnips are very small seed, they don't want to be planted very deep. So all I'm going to do is make an indent no more than probably 10 millimeters deep. Keeping my dice pattern, the diagonal pattern of these plantings. And I'm probably going to put one here because I had a failed one here, so we'll sow some there as well and hope that they catch up. do for now, and I'll sow some more again in probably later in the month. In fact, later in the month I'll probably fill the rest of this bed. However, I am entering the Potty Mouth Garden Club Parsnip Challenge, and I've just been through my seed tray and I've got no gladiator parsnips, which I'm pretty certain was what they said. It has to be a gladiator. So I'll get some gladiator seeds and sow those in one of these rows and label them up specifically for that little competition. But these are white gem, which I've grown lots of times before, and they're a very nice parsnip. The parsnip seeds are not the most reliable when it comes to germination, so I'm going to put at least 2 in each of these holes, and if 3 go in, then that's fine, and then I will just snip off the weaker ones with some scissors as they grow. So some got 2 in, some got 3 in. What I'm going to do now is just gently put some water on top of those seeds. I want those to be well and truly stuck to the soil. What I don't want is the parsnip sitting in an air gap between pieces of soil. Then I'm going to cover these over just gently with the finest soil I can find around the hole. Just cover those over. And then just a little bit more water on top. And I know I'm not going to go mad with the watering because I know it's going to rain in the next day or two. I think Friday we've got torrential rain all day. So this is going to be my carrot bed. Let's move that thermometer. And all I do when I sow carrots is basically make a furrow, make a very shallow trench, if you like, and sow them and then thin them out when they start to come through. There's different ways you can make the furrow. Some people like to use a stick or a batten and make the trench, which is one of my preferred methods, I have to say, because if you use a square section stick, you get a V-shaped trench, which helps the seeds fall into the middle of the trench. Some people prefer to get a stick and scrape a trench. Some people prefer to just use their finger. It really doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you make a shallow, no more than 10mm deep trench. Now I'm going to put my trenches, furrows, shall we call them, about 4 inches apart. So I'm going to do 3 rows. And then in a couple of weeks I'll do another 3 rows until this bed is full. And when I come to thin these out, I'll thin them out to about 2 inches, picking out the weaker ones, keeping the stronger ones, so that they're about 2 inches apart, and that will give us a nice sized carrot by the time we need to pull them out. How well they're going to be formed, as in long and straight, I don't know, because I've never grown carrots in this ground before, in this bed before, and there are quite a few stones, but I've grown carrots in much worse soil than this, but we'll find out. So the variety I'm going to sow are Nantes, early Nantes. The carrot seeds are really small. You can sow them individually, but it's quite hard work. And my preferred method, put them in your hand, take a pinch, just sprinkle them in as thinly as you can, but making sure you get a few seeds every couple of inches. The better you are at this, the less you're going to have to thin them out. And the less seed you will use. Label in and then give them another water. So there we go, there's some carrots sown, some parsnip sown, Kale harvested, growth right through the winter. More kale planted, some spinach planted, another bed tidied up ready for planting in, and it's all good. We're getting there. We're slowly moving through spring, and hopefully it will warm up a bit. We just need it to stay, you know, a bit warmer on a night. That's what I need, and I can get some more stuff outside. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do, and follow us on our journey to become more self-sufficient. Thanks again. I'll catch you next time. Cheers.